Hey YouTube, welcome back to my channel. My name is Edgar Ramirez, and in today's video, I'm going to show you guys how to stand out in a competitive market in 2020. All right, tip number one, know how to brand yourself. When I say brand yourself, I'm not talking about selling yourself or anything like that. I'm talking about just know what you offer, know what you're bringing to the table, and know what you need from a certain company. With this comes a lot of different aspects, which I'm just going to glance over a couple here, and in a future video, I'm going to be actually delving into this topic way more in depth. So what comes into branding yourself is most of all two things: being versatile and also having a market-centered mentality. Let's start with versatility first. So being versatile basically means knowing that the current situation is changing, knowing what's happening at the current moment when it comes to a company, worldwide, etc. In 2020, it means about the pandemic. So basically just know that a lot of companies are hiring, or they're actually halting their hiring because of their employees being furloughed or their employees being working from home and stuff like that. And know and sympathize with them and say, hey, I understand that the current situation is XYZ, so it's okay if you guys don't get back to me right about the way. Or just say, hey, this is what I can offer if you guys are applying for a certain position. This is what I can offer and understand your guys' current position. So when branding yourself, it's very important to know what you bring to the table. So assess your academia and your work experience and say, this is the type of skills that I have, this is the type of engineer, in my case, that I am, and this is what I can bring to the table. So I'm really good when it comes to documentation and when it comes to, a little bit of design, and when it comes to, communicating what I'm trying to talk about, presentations or communicating the type of science or investigations and stuff like that, and knowing what I need to learn. So I need to know more about the technical things about electronics and stuff. So I'm studying on my side on when it comes to that with all those freelance courses that I talked about in the previous video. And at the same time, I can see that my company hopefully is offering that type of experience, that type of opportunities where I can learn and grow. And that's what I encourage to you guys as well. Balance yourself, know what you're trying to offer, know what you need, and then from there, tackle it. So for my mentees, for example, one of them is very gifted when it comes to the technical side. So he knows like design and all these CAD softwares and stuff like that, but he's lacking in the communication realm. So I told him, hey, still continue developing those CAD software skills. That's fantastic, but don't lack when it comes to communicating your science, communicating what you're trying to accomplish. And I offered him, hey, look for internships. Would you have experiences or opportunities where you can communicate that information, or do volunteer work, or just go online and trying to see what type of information you can regurgitate or recommunicate to professors or your friends and stuff like that. Another one of my mentees is really good when it comes to communicating, but she kind of lacks in the technical field. So the whole thing's reversed. With her is practice more, get more CAD software under your belt, more experience, just design simple like squares and rectangles and level up when it comes to that. And then don't forget about your process. Don't forget about the communication aspect of that. So keep a journal. I told her, just keep a journal of how you would explain to someone how to create a rectangle or how to create a prism and stuff like that. And then merge both of them and see how effective you are in the types of skills that you're offering, what you need, what you can provide back. Another aspect of branding yourself is learning how to network and learning how to communicate with others that you exist. So with that, you use LinkedIn. That's a perfect skill for you to communicate with other engineers that work in the companies that you're interested in. Learn how to comment, do effective comments. So when I do my video on LinkedIn, I will delve into that and what that means in the future. But yeah, comment, like, share, mention yourself, mention others that you might think they might like a certain article that you just read. And then for yourself, make posts to create conversations, make conversational pieces. What's really cool about LinkedIn is that it's your online presence already. So customize your banner, like I mentioned in the previous video, customize your photo, customize your experiences. The best person to communicate a certain internship or a certain background that you have is yourself. So when it comes to LinkedIn, I always pair it with my resume, because my resume is the other half of myself that's more professional and more direct into my experiences and stuff like that. It's not super embellished when it comes to, word language and diction and whatnot, and explaining different experiences of how these happen, how I acquired. Is more just direct bullet points. But both of them together creates your brand. Basically, what I do when it comes to my resume is I always have a story in mind. I just know exactly when I have an experience added, I have a story or an anecdote or something that just communicates, hey, I learned Chinese because, funny enough, when I was developing software or developing my medical device in Taiwan, they, downloaded the CAT software without any English, not the English package. So it's just all in Chinese. So I had to learn like basic Chinese and simplified Chinese for the characters in order for me to know how to click a save button or know how to do a trim or know even how to make a line. You can go back to versatility, for example, and say, hey, if I'm a hiring manager, I can say, hey, this person, even though their story is like super funny when it comes to like, developing this medical device that's such a complex, product, with something as simple of a hardship being, they didn't know that the package or the CAT software that came to them was in Chinese and they had to adapt to that. That just shows versatility. It's just one example that shows versatility. Other ways you can showcase branding is by your leadership positions. Those are really good when you pair them with your LinkedIn. It gives really good recommendations and references that people can vouch for you. What's really cool about having leadership positions is that you can showcase, hey, I've been a leader in a certain association or society or a club, or you initiated a club, or you did something to mark your legacy. I'm not saying that to, impose that you are like this president from X to Y years and you did all these changes because you had to impress. No, it's just you saw the direction that the club needed in that time frame, even though maybe you're not even the president, maybe you're the VP or a social media director. You saw what the club needed and you knew exactly what to take it to the next level. And with that, when it comes to versatility, it also comes into customizing yourself. So if you, like I said before, if you treat your degree as a one-size-fits-all, you're going to narrow a lot of opportunities for you, and you're going to narrow a lot of the growth that you might have, that you could have actually. If you treat your degree like an open book, an open interpretation into, let's see what I can apply, let's see where, what type of job descriptions match the type of experiences I have, you can customize your resumes, your cover letters, your emails and stuff like that, and you can have a broad experience, you can have more opportunities, and then you can be even more successful. And then from there, let's say your first couple jobs are design, for example, or they're manufacturing. You notice that you have an inclination for investigations, you have an inclination for, like documentation. Then you can go into the next level of your career and say, oh, I can be a manager, or I can go into like quality or customer service or something. And then from there, just rank up and rank up. You can get degrees and associations and all these different, things to enhance your career. And maybe you can apply for that job that you're super interested in, and you just have the building blocks, but now you connect them all together and you can be successful that way too. Part number 2 in branding yourself is having marketable skills. And when I say this is, again, not selling yourself, anything like that, but it's having interpersonal skills, having, skills like how to read and write effectively. These, although they should be common knowledge, these are things that a lot of engineers kind of lack. They're really good at, for example, designing, but they are not really good at communicating. They're not really good at, writing effectively when it comes to something that's a non-conformance, for example, something that's like not working, a product that's not working, or a customer saying, hey, your product doesn't work, and you doing like a formal investigation to see why that's happening. If you can't write effectively and read and interpret correctly, then you're going to be shortcoming when it comes to expectations from your hiring manager and the company. For example, if you see that there's a lack of people who have technical abilities in your group, be that technical person. And then at the same time, be that person that people can rely on and people can, impose their necessities to, but at the same time, you transform it into opportunities of growth, opportunities to advance not only your team, but the whole company as a whole. Having a market-centered mentality doesn't mean just knowing, oh, I know how to make my company more profitable. That's kind of like the easy answer per se. But just know how to evolve with your company. Just know exactly what you can push the next direction for your company to be. If you're, again, coming out of college, going into your couple industries, couple companies in your first couple of years, then for sure just evolve with your company. Just know exactly where you're at, what the company can provide you, and do it. Go with their mission statement and say, hey, I noticed you guys are really into, the diabetes community, and you guys want to make diabetes, monitoring easier, or, their cholesterol levels monitor easier, things like that. and know, hey, maybe yourself, you have diabetes and you're like, I'm really interested in this. I want to advance, whatever you guys are doing because I feel a personal attachment to this issue. And then I can bring you my customer mentality, my customer, experience, and knowing what the limitations are and what we can bring to the next step. Push that boundary, push the expectations of your hiring manager and the company. And yeah, so follow market trends with this. You can just do a quick Google search and say, what are the hottest trends when it comes to medical devices? And a bunch of new companies will arise, what they're doing, what they're testing. And then that way, see if there's any potential competitors with the company that you're at right now. Or if you're, in an interview with a certain company, you can ask them who their competitors are. And at the same time, if you feel like you're a really good fit for whatever position they have open for that company, if you know exactly who their competition is, that means you have even more opportunities to apply for different companies because it's like they're one to two. They're two sides of the same coin, references like those. And then you can apply for different positions, different companies. Subscribe to job portals because those are the best things that can give you real-time news on any industry that you're interested in. And tip number 3, last tip on how to stand out in a competitive market in 2020 is just kill it in your interview. I know that's easier said than done, but basically just need to prepare effectively, prepare smart. One of the recommendations I give my mentees when it comes to killing your interview is 1, prepare your resume, prepare your LinkedIn, prepare your cover letters, prepare everything, your portfolio, all the documentation you have with a story. So for example, for me, when I prepare for my interviews, my story right now is I'm an engineer who's really interested in medical devices and I want to learn as much about medical devices in the industry as I can. So my previous company, I work at a pharmaceutical company. I wanted to learn how to manufacture medical devices effectively. I want to know the whole process from MPIs, which is basically like the research stage, R&D stage of a product, all the way to development, all the way to the product actually working with a client or a customer or a patient. And that was my story. So now in the company that I'm right now, it's more about electronics. So my story was I want to learn about more of the electronic route of medical devices because this is the trend that I'm looking at when I Google search about medical devices, is that a lot of these handheld and these rudimentary devices, they're going smaller, they're going digital, they're going, exporting information to the cloud about patients and stuff, storing information, they're becoming smaller, more compact, more effective, more potent. So I want to be in that same train and develop and learn and evolve with these devices. And I felt that your company can provide me the information that I need and the power that I need to become successful. I was graduating from college. I noticed that my story was basically, hey, I had adversity, my GPA was low, now it's high. All these opportunities that I got is all about giving people, giving my community, and basically learn from that. Learn technical skills, learn interpersonal skills when communicating my science, and learn to develop basically the connection between technical and interpersonal. Basically design for people, not people designing for me, if that makes sense. So when it comes to killing it in your interview, please research the questions if you can. Go on Glassdoor's reviews. They always kind of post like the type of questions that they see in different interviews. But if you can't do that with your certain company that you're applying for, then definitely just go online, just look at the general questions that people ask, like hiring manager and stuff. Do like the top 20 type of questions that you see. For example, what's the hardest experience you ever encountered? What is the best way to showcase your strengths and your weaknesses? Talk about your resume, talk about just a couple of stories, talk about your experience in college, your first couple of jobs, so on and so forth. And prep those answers. Actually print out the questions and write them down. And then what's really cool about right now, one of the positives I would say about right now is that interviews are online, so you can totally have a piece of paper to your side showcasing all the answers to your interview questions. So if you see the hiring manager asking, you can do like a quick glance and see the answer and just give them the answer. You can totally prep when it comes to phone interviews as well. Just have all your answers kind of already written, and that way you don't have to use your brain cells in answering. It's not totally wrong to do that, and you can actually use your brain cells when it comes to asking them questions or adapting your question, your answer to what the hiring manager kinda is alluding to. Maybe when it comes to an entry-level position that they're opening, they might be asking for technical skills or academia or someone who can be versatile. You can say in your questions, oh, I actually did answer that. So I can give them a couple examples. Or maybe they want someone with a little bit more leadership, then you can be like, oh, then I can apply the same experience that I had and then showcase where I showed leadership in those answers. And with that being said, guys, those were just a couple of tips I gave you guys on how to be more competitive in the job market in 2020. I will be diving into these answers way more in future videos. So make sure to subscribe so you don't miss any of my videos that I post. I'm going to be posting every single week. And make sure to turn on notifications so you know when I go live, when these videos go live, and you don't miss any of my videos that I post. Also, if you guys like this video, make sure to like this video here, there, or anywhere. It really helps me in knowing what type of content you guys like. And comment down below. That's probably one of the things I'm going to be pushing more the most, is comment down below on what type of topics you would like for me to cover, what topics to talk about, what topics do you guys feel I should more extend and actually pull out and dissect for you guys. And with that being said, guys, thank you so much. My name was Edgar Ramirez, and I hope you guys have a beautiful day. Thank you for watching.